Morning. Thank you for having me here today. This is a very emotional day for me. The 37 police officers that we lost that day were trained by me when I was the head of training for emergency services. So it's a day that I don't watch TV. I get a lot of messages from people that I very much appreciate. It was a day just like this. It was a beautiful day. I had retired recently and moved to Minnesota to be with my sons. And I was building a kennel for their dog. And I went inside the house to get a cup of coffee, and the TV was on in the kitchen. And they said, "Breaking news." And I said, "This is never good." And they showed a picture of the World Trade Center with a gaping hole. And I don't know why I made all these notes, I'm not even reading. I said, "Wow." He said, "A small plane is storming the World Trade Center." I thought, "It's a big hole." And I'm looking at it, it's clear. The sky is clear. And it's still not dawning on me. As I'm watching it, the second plane hit. And I thought, "Oh my God, this is intentional. This is a terrorist attack. Holy smokes." Well, I knew right then and there that I had to get back here and do what I could do. So Friday morning was the first available flight from Minneapolis to Newark. I was on it. There were 3 people on the flight. Me, another guy kind of looked like me, and the third guy got on and was an olive-complected man. And he stops and he looks at us and he says, "I'm Italian. If I go to use the bathroom, don't tackle me. I'm not going to hijack anything." Turned out he was a wonderful guy. And we flew into Newark. The pilot deviated and flew over the ground zero. Gave us a very good look at it. I was thinking, how could this happen? How did we miss this? We had intelligence all over the place, and somehow we missed it. Well, when the second plane crashed into the South Tower, I remember thinking to myself, "Ooh, this is going to be bad." There's like, I believe the number was 50,000 people working in the World Trade Centers on an average day. That's a lot of people. My daughter Katie worked for Citigroup. She had graduated from the University of Delaware. And she was on her way to the World Trade Center for a meeting when the first plane hit North Tower. And she turned around and went back. And of course, thankful of that. I didn't think it could get worse until I saw the towers actually collapse. And I thought of all the people that I knew that were there. And I'll just tell you from my perspective, and my perspective is from the police perspective. They were wonderful people. Some children lost a parent, some children lost both parents. Parents lost children, brothers and sisters. When you get there, you had to go to a big auditorium and sign in because they had to know who was there. So I did. And when I walked in, there was a guy in there that I knew for many years, Billy Hoover. Looks up and he says, "Well, Captain Brady from Montana." I said, "No, Billy, Minnesota." He says, "All right, one of those M states. I got that part right." And he did. I got down to ground zero, and you looked in awe at what was 110 stories of skyscraper that was now about 20 stories of rubble. And where do you start? I remember the smell. It was an acrid smell, something like I'd never smelled before. People were walking around. I went down and was signed in. As I started to enter ground zero, there was a police car with 2 coppers leaning against it. And as I walked up there, one cop elbowed the other guy and pointed at me, and they both stood at attention and saluted. I said, "Hey, you don't have to salute me. You can call me Paul. I'm retired." I said, "I'm glad you guys are okay." They had both worked for me at one time. And one cop, eyes watered up, and he said, "You know why we're okay, boss? Because there were so many people falling or jumping that we couldn't get inside. We couldn't get through the crowd of bodies that were bouncing off the sidewalks." I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that smell. We continued to work in silence mostly. Every time a body was recovered, we would stop and we would honor them. And they were all treated with dignity and respect. And I remember walking out of ground zero, and people on the street just started clapping. They started applauding, and I couldn't figure out why. We're just doing our job. But it was their way of showing us that they appreciated what we were doing. And it was difficult. It was hard work. More than that, Let me say this to you. During that time, nobody was white or black or liberal or conservative or Democrat or Republican. We were all Americans. That was a wonderful feeling. I hope someday we can get back to that feeling where we're not divided, where we are Americans. We are the greatest people on the planet. You'll never find a more benevolent, loving, accepting culture than ours. I've done a lot of travel all around the world doing consulting work after 9/11, and the nicest words I ever hear is coming back through customs when they say, "Welcome home, Mr. Brady." Yeah, welcome home. So let's be Americans. There were acts of kindness that were just too plentiful to even count. And I think that in these years that have passed, our country has grown so many different ways, but we're still basically a wonderful people. And we should be very, very proud of that. And I know it's emotional for me. I think about, I lost my very best friend that day, Tony Infante. We went to the police academy together. We worked together. He was a wonderful guy. He never got to see his kids graduate college, never got to see his kids get married, never got to have that fantastic feeling of being a grandparent. I never have to yell at my grandkids. I never even have to say no. Can I have a piece of candy? Take two, they're small. They missed all that. And it breaks my heart to think about that. Well, we went to too many funerals and we comforted each other as best we could. The work continued at the site, and we continued to grieve, and every year we commemorate this attack. It brings back so many memories, evil, heartbreak, lost friends, but mostly good memories of how at that time we came together to be American.